Hi, in this video we're going to talk about cases in Lightning Experience. Now I'm going through a large transition from Classic to Lightning Experience for cases. Now I'm really specific about talking about cases and not Service Cloud because cases comes in Sales Cloud also. This is a non-profit I'm dealing with, and so they use the grant from Salesforce, and that is the Sales Cloud Enterprise Edition, and it also comes with cases. It doesn't have the other things in Service Cloud like entitlements and milestones, but you can use cases in sales. So I really want to make sure that we are just talking about cases and nothing else. So I did a talk at the World Tour in Sydney in March 2019, and I wanted to show you some screenshots from that talk. So this is a typical classic case layout, and this is really what I'm coming from. I haven't done much with this case functionality since 2011 when I built this case functionality, but then I've gone through so many different transitions of cases. So this is standard cases, then this is what the case feed looked like. Yeah, case feed was pretty ugly, but that's not anything compared to the Lightning Console in Classic. Yes, it is called the Lightning Console, but it is in Classic. So anything time you see this really big bright blue bar and the really black footer, then that's still in Classic, not in Lightning. So when we switch over to Lightning, it gives us this page layout as default in a standard app. And, you know, it looks pretty reasonable there. So you've got your case details over the side, and you've got your chatter posts and related there. With everything with Lightning, you have to change all of your page layout. So this is then the standard sort of feed layout in the Lightning Console. So the Lightning Console looks a lot better, but I think a lot of the times I think that's just far too busy. I'm not 100% sure about what case layout page I'm going to choose, but the problem is that my clients' cases are not as simple as just a couple of fields here that has subject and, you know, you're just going to email back and forth. This is exactly what their case layout looked at when I first transitioned to Lightning. Now, it's all blurred out, so you can't see any of the details, but this is for real. This is exactly what it looked like. Imagine coming October and when Lightning is enabled automatically, and this is what people log into when they first log into on a Monday morning when Lightning's turned on. Can you imagine their horror? So what we have got to do as Salesforce admins, especially for our clients, is to ensure we really get this right in Lightning for our clients. So this is what I'm trying to do to get the cases working better. So let's have an example of what this client does. They just have email to case and web to case, and they have a lot of information, as you see, that they collect on the case. I've just simplified this example for the moment, and they do a lot of emails back and forth. They really heavily rely on email. They do a lot of emails back and forth to their customer, and then they take the email and then they take the details of the case with the attachments that have been emailed in, and they email them off to a third party. There's a lot of cases where this can be happening. I've had a number of clients do this sort of thing, where they have a third party completely outside of Salesforce that they need to email off. Of course, you know, ensuring all of the privacy legislation is sorted, but we're emailing this and the documents that they send in their email off to a third party. So this is what we want to be able to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through the basic how to email to case functions in Lightning, and then we're going to come into some of the issues I've had with setting up this third party email. So I'm just sending an email to case. So I've got my email to case address, and I'm sending an email to the case, and this is my initial email to case, and I've got a few kitten pictures that I'm attaching, and I'm going to hit send on that. So we're going to come back to our cases tab and look in our today box. And so here is our email to case that's coming. And it's coming from my email address, and it's just got the email to case. This is my initial email to case. I've done some playing around with this page layout already. So I've put the files on a separate tab. I've got one set up as a list view and one set up as an enhanced list. Now, interestingly, the enhanced list just looks like the tiles. I don't know why files enhanced list doesn't look like a list, but this is the basic list. Okay, so we've got my kittens in there now. So we've got kitten 2, kitten 3. Now, I'm not sure which is going to be the best for you yet. We'll see how that goes. I might even like to have both of them. Okay, so I've got the case and I've got the description. I might want to change the subject, and what I need to do is put in the who it's from. So I'm just going to choose a great person that this case has come from, and I am just going to put a description of the documents. So very first thing is, as we go through the case and work the case, we probably want to email the client. So we click here on the email. This is on the case feed. So this is a feed layout, and in cases, the post, all of the buttons come up on the feed, on the chatter feed, rather than the activity. So if we look at activity, there's no buttons. In every single other object in Salesforce, the buttons are on the activity panel, not on the feed. You've got the post buttons on the feed, and you've got the follow-up, new task, log a call, or the task activities on the activity panel. Now, so everything in cases is meant to be feed first, but I find that it gets a little bit in the way. My field updates showing in my feed also, and I can search by latest posts and search the feed. And if I'm in console, I can do feed filters. But feed filters, even though this is a feed layout, feed filters do not show in non-console apps. If you are using cases all the time, you probably want to use console apps. So I've very carefully laid out this page because, again, cases are feed first. So we want the feed to be front and center. And because I know my details is going to get very big as the case goes through, I want all of my case information here. And then I've got a history tab here, which has got all of the emails, the activity history if I've got any follow-up or tasks I want to do. And then I've got the files tab, because the files are really important for my client and they want to absolutely see the files. And note that the files attached to the attachments related list. That is a setting in cases that is pretty new, and that's good. There used to be an app that you could do it in Classic, but now there is a standard setting, which is great. So I've sort of tried to lay out. I would prefer the feed to be on the left-hand side and the details to be on the right-hand side, but I'll show you why in a little bit as to why that's not a good idea. All right, so I'm going to now email this client. Now, I've got my email button second because there is some JavaScript that happens on that email when you click that email button. So I really never like to have the email button first because it always shows up. So I really want to actively click the email button, and I'm going to, so this is just a free-form email. There is no letterhead, there is no template, there is no signature, there is no nothing. Okay, so I don't know. Do you want to be sending from your case absolutely free-form email? Probably not. You probably want some very structured emails and some very on your letterhead, and you probably want your signature. Okay, so there's some intricacies to the signature that I won't get in this video because I have noticed in the pre-release org there is some things about signatures in there, so I actually might do that as a separate video when the release notes comes out. Right, so I'm going to just send that email. So we can see that sent email as a reply that we've sent out in the feed. We can see it in our history, and we can see we've sent it, and it's probably best to look at the whole list, and we can see that there. And I've received an email in my inbox, and we've got the email. And it's got our case thread ID on there, and I always like to put it in both the body and the subject in case people change the subject. It's surprising how many people change the subject. Okay, so I'm now going to reply to the email and add in another kitten. Pretty kitten. So I have got a alert set up that tells the owner of the case when a new email comes in. At the moment, I've got the owner as triage, which is a queue, but that's not how it would work in practice. So I do have an alert that goes to the email to the owner that they will get an alert to say that the email has come through. But there's nothing that happens apart from the email. There is nothing that happens on this case record to show you that the email has come through. Let's just refresh the page. And again, the email should have come in by now, but there's nothing in here. Now, but if we go to our email related list, we can see that in there. So let's go to view all, and we can see that email. Now I'm going to reply to the email, and I've got my kitten 80600 there. So that is, it's there, but on my case, I can't see it. You can see here, even though the email that I sent out is in the feed, the email that was received in is not in the feed. So what sort of a feed is this? Right? That I just don't understand why this email coming in would not show in the feed if this is meant to be a feed first approach to handling cases. But where we can see this email that has come in is in a really bizarre place, and that's if we click on the email. So this is like a true email thread. I don't have any idea why this old email is in italics. We've got a couple of different fonts going on here. We've got a standard font, we've got this bold font here, we've got the font here, these fonts here, and then we've got this regular font in the email, and then we've got this font in that is italic in the previous email. That is a bit bizarre. Anyway, so we can see it in there. I'm not sure that's the best place to see the email. And again, I've got to click into the email button to see that email that I've got going out. And so I could actually just reply here and continue that thread, just exactly like a regular email thread, as if we were doing it in an email. Now, if I go to my email related list, then I open up the email, it comes to this screen, and this screen is pretty ugly. I don't know, the fonts are bizarre on this screen. You can see here that this is the text that was italics in the feed, and it's not italics here, but this is really bold font, and we can hit reply here. And then it pops up this email icon here, and we can reply here. Now, this is the standard functionality if you're replying to an email out of your activity feed in contacts. And it doesn't seem so jarring in contacts, but it is, I don't know, it's just very jarring here. There's too many different things going on the screen. What I would probably do is really change this page layout to just have the attachments over here and have the other things in another tab, just to really clean up this page so it's not so intrusive. Now, just remember that you can pop this up and minimize it and all this sort of stuff. So you can do a few things with this to sort of focus really on that. But again, if we are talking about a feed first approach to using cases, why does that even exist? Now I'm just going to pause here. I'm going to switch to console view and show you that exact scenario in console view. So I've just changed this page layout, and this is what I wanted it to look like in the first place, and it wasn't. So this is a console layout with a pinned left panel and a pinned top panel. The pinned panel is a bit weird. It just sort of tries to keep that thing front and center and all your sub tabs open up over here. I just find it a bit weird looking that you've got no break here and a break there. I know that's where the sub tabs go, but it's a bit strange. So let's go to our history and go to our emails. And then, so then we've got our post over here, right? Or our email over here where we can be replying to our email. And then we've got our email over here and we can reply to our email here. Oh my God, don't ever set your cases up like this. How confusing is that to your users? Okay, this is one of my biggest problems with Lightning, is the fact that you can make such ugly, unintuitive, terrible layouts. I don't understand this. This is the enhanced email page. I don't understand why this is so different. What are they trying to achieve here? I don't know. What are they trying to achieve with the feed layout? Are they trying to achieve everything goes through the feed layout? Or are they trying to achieve everything goes through the email, enhanced emails? It just seems such a mess and such, just a misstep. Anyway, I'm going to pause and put it back to normal and go back. Look, I must say, one of the lovely things that has come out of Salesforce in the last few releases is the ability to change your page layouts. So I want header and two equal regions. I want to go next, and I'm going to put my main region to the right and a pin left sidebar to the right and our main region to the left. Okay. So just to be able to play around with the Lightning layouts like this is just so lovely. And compared to how bad it was when Lightning first came out, it's just lovely. Okay, so now we're back to some semblance of normalcy and reasonableness and not 10,000 fonts on the page. All right, so the next thing is I need to email the documents and email out to a third party. So when I click on the email, remember I've got no template here. I can insert a template, right? But what I've done is I've followed the Salesforce instructions in the help documents. So I've got some help documents up here to show you. And I've got here a third party email, quick action. So this is an email quick action, and an email quick action is added to the page layout in the right section, and then it comes up here as a button. So the third party email has an email template. So this is our email action, quick action type of a send email. And this is the help document it comes from. And we can, in this, when we set up this quick action, is we can choose an email template, default email template. Now, you would think that you can use the new Lightning email templates. No, you can't. You would think that you might be able to use Visualforce emails. No, you can't. You would think you might be able to use HTML email templates. No, you can't. The only type of email template you can use in a quick action is a custom email type. So therefore you have to really build your whole HTML that you want in the custom email type. So all these lovely new email templates that have been created in Lightning, you can't use that in a button that it comes from a case. Absolutely ridiculous. We are very close to the release notes for Winter 20, and I can hold out hope, but I'm not going to waste my breath holding out hope for any fixes around email templates. Okay, so I've got a custom type classic email template here, and this is my custom email. So if I go normal email, we've just got the re-sandbox, re-email to case. And if I go to third party email, means I've got a subject that is in my template. I've got them both set as the same from address, which is your default sort of case from address. You don't want case emails coming from the individual case owner. And I've got some email text, and I've got the case subject here. And again, that is handlebars format in that. So if we preview that email, then we're going to see that. That's interesting. I didn't know Handlebar's format, what she works in custom email, classic email templates. That's an interesting one. Okay, so, but what we haven't got is the whole idea about sending this is I want to send it to a third party, right? So how am I going to get my third party? Normally that would be case team, case roles, not case teams internally, case roles. A long time ago when this was all was created, I realized case roles were a little bit ineffective, and so I created a custom case roles functionality. But I can't send to a case role from this list. There is a tool called Email to Case Premium where it can send out from case roles and case teams, but it's got so many other sort of glitches and it's not really ready for Lightning yet that I'm at the point where I can't really recommend it until it's fixed for Lightning. So what I've done is, if I have my case role set up, then I can do a roll up using declarative lookup roll up summaries tool. It needs another whole video, but you know DLRS if you use it, and I can fill in the third party here. So let's just choose this third party. So that I can choose in this case was only ever going to be one third party at a time, so I can do this sort of thing. So going back to the documentation on the quick action for third party for cases for emails, there's two ways that you can fill in who it goes to. You can have it go to the to address field, which is an ID. So the to recipients field, which is an ID, which requires this junction ID list, which just allows you to have multiple IDs in there. Or you can go to a to address field, which is just a text field representing an email field. So this is what this help document says, that for the field name, select one of the following field with two recipients, CC recipients, BCC recipients, and use the junction ID list formula to put in the different IDs of the contact that you are going to send it to. Okay, then you've got this document which is linked from this page, and this one says opposite. It says you can have the to address pre-filled and use a text field with an custom email field. Okay, which is when it's actually an email address field. All right, and then we've got this field, this one that says default values for case emails. Now, if you have a quick action handler custom code, then will go first. But we don't have that. So the next priority is predefined field values set up in the email quick action. So this is what we've just gone through. If one of these email quick actions is predefined, then the default value will use that predefined email value. Okay, so I go here, third party email, now that I've got my third party in there, and it's not setting the to at all. At all. There's nothing I can do to set that to as being the default value there. So if anyone knows a way around that, let me know, because the workaround that I've come up with is just an absolute nightmare, and this is ridiculous. So basically what Salesforce is saying is, in handling cases, you're only ever going to have a very simple case with a couple of fields on it, and you're only ever going to email that person back and forth until the case a couple of times until the case is resolved, and then you close the case. Anything other than that, well, I don't know, you're on your own. Okay. So frustration's starting to creep in. So again, business case. We are trying to email details about this case to a third party. So let's just cut to the chase and show you what I had to do to get this working. And I had some help with someone helping me out, trying to work out all the different options, and they were great in going through all the different options. And this is together we worked out what was happening here. So we're using macros. Okay, as we start using macros, you'll find out why I've got the email panel over on this side. Now, just to note, in the last release, I think it was in the last release. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. In the last release, they were going to put macros over to, all the utility items over to the right-hand side. And then there was a big outcry, and that was changed. So the utility items by default are still on the left-hand side. You can ask to have them raise a support ticket and have them asked to have them on the right-hand side. But I don't know. I quite like them on the left-hand side. So in my app, my sales app, I've only got macros set up, knowing that you can use macros in apps other than console apps. Don't be fooled by some of the old documentation that's out there that says macros can only be used in console apps. Even Trailhead only still has macros in old console apps for Classic that don't have much on macros in Lightning yet. Okay, so hopefully that means macros are going to have some more functionality added to them. So what I had to do is create a macro that's third-party email, and I'm just going to run this macro and show you what it does. So the macro has now run. Now let's have a look at what it's done. So I hate the fact that the macros just don't go away after they've run, and I hate the fact that it actually has to show you all the steps that it's done. Why can't I just do it? But anyway, and then so I have to hide the macro and go away. So can you imagine if my email was over here, then the macro is actually happening behind the macros panel, and that is a bit ridiculous. So what's it done? It's actually filled in my email address for my test subs user, and so that is the third party that it's going to. It's filled in the subject from my template, and it's got a letterhead, which is the new email letterheads in Lightning that came out in the last release. And it has some new handlebars formatting. So this is a Lightning email template. And it has a sender name field, and it's got a footer in the new Lightning email templates. So by using a macro, we can now use our Lightning email templates. How ridiculous is it that we cannot use our Lightning email templates via a button, but we can use them via a macro? Now I've just gotten the most ridiculous looking logo here for this test one, and it looks terrible. All right, so this is sent to this email address, but how did I get this email address? Well, again, I had to do a workaround. I could not use, this is like three level workaround. I could not just use the ID, like fill in the two, and then remember that two recipients field. I couldn't use an ID. We tried every single thing in the macros. So let's just go to our macros, edit macros. Again, why is this not lined up? This sort of thing drives me crazy. So I'm in the macro builder now, and what we can do here is we've got the subject here, and we've got the replace existing text. We've got the HTML body here, and we've got the replace existing text. I forgot to mention that before, is in our standard emails that we are sending, it's only got the thread. So remember, when we're sending out to a third party, we don't want to see all this thread between us and our customer when we send it out to the third party. When we send it out to the third party, we want to have a brand new email. We don't want to have any of the history. But even when we do our button click that doesn't go out to the right person, it's got all the history in it. We don't want that. So again, this is where macros have to come in, because macros is the only place where we can replace the existing text and start off our email with a brand new email. Again, I hate macros, but it's the only thing that gives us this functionality. So we can use our email templates, our Lightning email templates. We can use this, but see this to address. Now, again, having someone help me work this out, we tried a number of different things. We tried handlebars format for the ID. We tried handlebars format for just a standard client email address, or like the web email field. We tried old format for, which is the curly brackets exclamation mark for the ID and for the email. Nothing worked. What ended up working was quick text, which is just bizarre. So quick text with a merge field inside the quick text, which is in the old format, which merges in the case the email addresses. So this is another field. I had to create a brand new field for the email address of the contact that I'm choosing for the third party. Okay, so this is a formula field that just references the third party email field. Not even putting in that as a text in itself in the macro builder, in the to address would work. It had to be in a quick text and go into the macro builder as the email address. Again, if anyone comes up with any other way of doing that, let me know, because that's just ludicrous. But it works. That's the most important thing. So let's just run our macro again. So again, we've got here this button here is not sending to the right person, and it still has our thread and doesn't have our lightning email template. I run the macro, third party email, run the macro. A macro is replied. I have to remove the macro, and there's our macro email there. So that is a bit bizarre. Now I need to attach the files to it. So can I just do drag and drop from here onto there? No, of course not. Of course not. Can I drag and drop from there? No, of course not. Okay, so, but we can go at related files, choose the files that we want to, and add them. Now, there's no way of doing that, I don't think, in any easier way. I'm just going to pause and try another. Okay, that is really interesting, because I knew I had attached a file to this email template, the standard email template. So let's go to our email templates and have a look at our third party email. And I know that I attached a standard PDF file, large file, just to test sending that. And back in my macro, it didn't seem that it attached that standard attachment. But here is a standard attachment. So this is, I'll come into the email and hit the reply, and still not good, because it's still got the history of the email that we don't want to have in this email. So what I did is didn't email, hit reply, and inserted a template. And that's still not the ideal, because it doesn't remove the body of the email. So that's interesting. We've got the attachment as the template on here. This doesn't have the related, oh my God, this doesn't have the related files on the case, on the enhanced email, to add the related files to the email. What are, this is where frustration just gets me. Like, how do they, if you are a person that is using cases, tell me, how are you using emails? Like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? So let's just run the macro again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my files, go to related files, and I'm going to choose my related files, add them, and I'm going to send that email. Okay, don't like that. I think that's a security risk, but looks like it's the only way we're going to send them out. All right, so there's my emails, but you can see here that that attachment is not there, like the main attachment. So that is a real issue because you still need to have terms and conditions that you're going to send. This is the email that was sent to me. I do not understand. Let's get rid of that. And the documents are not attached. So again, that is just another really bizarre thing. And that's to do with that files versus converting to links thing. So I need to have a look into that again. All right, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. This is a nightmare. If anyone can work out for me, help me, get me a better idea of how to use emails in Lightning in cases, then please let me know.